episode of the CASA podcast. This week, we're talking all things entrepreneurship. How do you start a business? How do you grow a business? In the last decade or so, we've seen a big increase in the number of entrepreneurship activity within our community. So many great businesses started over the last decade or so. And there's probably some of you at home who are thinking, how do I get my business started? Or maybe you've started a business and you're struggling to sort of work out how to take this business to the next level. Today's episode, we're hoping to give you practical tips, advice, share experiences in what it takes to start and grow a business here in Australia. And to join me in that, I'm really excited for the members of the panel today. I have John and Dr. Christine Walala. I did a bit of research, so I'm going to read their bios to make sure that I properly represent them, because I'm really excited about what these guys have accomplished and what they bring to the table today. So I'm going to start with you, John Gautier. So John Gautier is a highly sought after peak performance and turnaround coach. John has empowered clients from all walks of life not only dream big, but to live lives by design. With remarkable insight, he shares the same tools and strategies he uses in his coaching business to propel his clients forward to reach success. John was born into humble circumstances in Kenya, and a story of how he turned his childhood dream into reality is an inspiration to people of all ages around the globe. Whether you're looking to start your business, increase your wealth, improve your sporting performance or relationship, apply the knowledge within John's book. John is also an author as well. So welcome to the podcast, John.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, John.
And I'm also very privileged today to have Dr. Christine Walala. Dr. Christine, karibu. Dr. Christine is a researcher, a soil scientist. I'm sure today we'll know what a soil scientist is, a cropping trainer and consultant. Dr. Christine has a wide range of experience internationally, in Kenya, in Australia, across this industry. Dr. Christine is also very passionate about seeing people flourish in their career. And he's been running a number of programs and initiatives to help people get into their careers within the agriculture space. And now you're about to start a new business in recruitment. So I'm sure we'll hear all about that. Karibu sana, Dr. Christine.
Thank you.
So welcome. So I guess the first part I wanted to start right out of the gate is to give you guys a minute or so to just tell us what you're doing now as a business, and then we can go from there. We'll start with you, John.
I was going to say ladies first.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for that, and thank you to John, of course, together with my able panelist, John, and to the entire community, CASA. Thank you so much for having this platform, really, whereby we as a community, we are able to come together and be able to share our experiences. Because I think from this, we can be able to really enrich each other and, bring value, collective value to the community. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. So the question that you had for me was really, what am I currently doing?
Yes, as a business here.
As a business. As a business.
Yeah.
I think right from how you introduced me, I maybe just to go a step back.
Yes.
I was in employment before, prior to starting my business. So I was, I still am, but in employment, I was a researcher employed by the government of South Australia as a research agronomist. So my background really is in agriculture, all the way, even right from Kenya. And I got into, I transitioned into entrepreneurship because I felt I needed to give more.
Yes.
And I think we always have to ask ourselves, why are we getting into the business? And I think for me, why I got into the business is because I felt I needed to give more value, and around the space of where I have been trained, and this is in agribusiness. So my current business actually is around fresh produce production in agribusiness. That's where I've been for the last 5 years.
Okay.
And you know, at the same time, I'm also consulting in this particular area of agribusiness. And I think we'll talk about it as we continue. I have now opened up into the space of recruitment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah.
John, you've been in business for a very, very long time. Do you mind just telling us what's your current focus right now? And then we'll delve deep into your journey.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks once again. I must echo Dr. Christine's sentiments. What you guys in CASA are doing, it's wonderful. I think as a community, we have a lot of skills and talents that we can co-share.
Yeah.
I don't want to belabor that point.
Yeah.
What am I doing currently? I mean, I've been involved in business now for quite a while. Maybe also like Christine, let me give a bit of a background so that somebody can understand where I've come from.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier for people to see where you are, not understanding where you've come from.
Absolutely.
So I've been in this country now, I think going 24, 25 years or thereabouts. So my background was accounting. That's how I came here. Worked as an accountant briefly. Although I must say, when I made the journey to come here, I'd been in business in Kenya. I was in the construction industry. We were building homes, and we done well. But the environment in Kenya was not very conducive, in my opinion. Not just for business, but also to bring up a family. So we came here. And the thing is, when I was coming to Australia, I knew I would work as an accountant, but I also knew I would go into business. Now, prior to that, I'd been involved in personal development. I've been involved in personal development for many years. And I think I was reading through your extracts about what initiated people, or what motivated someone to get into business. Personally, the way I got into business, especially one of the businesses that I'm involved in now, which I started when I came to Australia, was I read a book by Tony Robbins. I don't know whether people know Tony Robbins.
Yes.
Tony Robbins is and I bought a book in a Nairobi bookstore, and that changed the way I looked at life. So anyway, to fast track that, when I came here, I knew that I was going to get into business. And what happened is that we were in Ballarat with my wife. With my wife and 2 kids. And because I was such a big fan of Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins came on an infomercial. And Jane said, wow, he's this guy you keep talking about. So very quickly I took up the details. I bought a program. And so I started again getting myself delved into personal development. And I knew the moment I went to a few of Tony Robbins' seminars that this is something I would really like to do. So that's one business that I'm still currently involved in. Started in the year 2000, 2002, I would say. And it's still going. Along the way, I've been involved in other enterprises. But for me, I think business comes to me as a result of my own personal experience and realizing a need that could be there. So I'm involved in the health industry. I'm also involved in the education space. At least those 3 avenues, I would say, is what is keeping me out of mischief. And maybe we can delve into those a little bit more. But that's basically those 3 enterprises that I'm involved in.
One thing I find a lot of people, and I find a lot of people getting the question, I want to get into business, but I can't seem to decide, you know, is it going to be the student recruitment? Because if you look at there seem to be waves of businesses that are started within the Kenyan community, whether it's NDIS, whether it's a student business, whether it's other kind of businesses. I would like to sort of understand from your point of view of the insight or maybe the thought that got into how you pick the exact business that you want to focus on. That's something I would like to hone in on. Was it something that for you, I think, John, you've expounded about how you got into it, but with yours, is it something that fell on you, Christine, or is it something that you purposefully decided, I want to go into this? How did you end up picking the businesses you're in?
Thank you. I think that's a question I get quite often.
Yes.
Because it's not every time that you see you know, to be real, it's not very often that you see someone who's in research doing what I do.
Yes.
You know, you'll find people who have climbed the mountain, so to speak, climbing the mountain of education, and going all the way to doctorate level, to be out there as lecturers and as top researchers. However, for me, I'm a very reflective person in terms of, why do you climb that mountain? Are you climbing the mountain so that people can be able to see you?
Yes.
So that is one thing, climbing that mountain, and then people are able to see you and put the DR before you. Or are you climbing the mountain so you can be able to see the world? So for me, in the latter.
Okay.
Climbing the mountain so that you can be able to see the world.
Yes.
And so once I realized, fine, I've climbed my mountain, my career ladder mountain, and fine, I have the DR before me, before my name, then now I have to shift the way I look at life and say, now I'm on top of this mountain. I want to be able to see this world. And now with that perspective, what are the needs am I seeing in the world? So when for myself, when I look at the world that way, there's no way you can have a status quo mindset.
Yes.
So your mindset must change, because you feel being like in a job situation is one set of skills that you needed to have. I'm all for going to school and being in a career kind of a structure, an employment structure, because that is where you're honed. You kind of learn a lot of, how your profession is driven. It's very important to be in that kind of a structure. It gives you another set of skills. However, for myself, I felt I didn't actually, I already had achieved that bit in my life, and I needed to transition into another part of my life whereby I don't maintain the status quo, because I know for sure, like in my field, in agriculture, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
Both, let's say, for immigrants getting involved in the game, in the economy, because let's face it, in agribusiness, like I'm out there in the northern Adelaide plains, we have production here just right in our doorstep of about, the production is about 200,000 tons of fresh produce annually being produced just here. And the farm gate value is about 300 million, and still counting. So this is a very lucrative industry. And when I looked at it and I saw, I really needed to understand the value chain. That's my why. I needed to get out of employment and understand the value chain in my industry.
Yes.
Be able to hone and understand it. And why do I want to understand it? Be able to understand it so I can be able to assess it and be able to kind of be a yardstick to other people who want to be able to get into the industry, be able to be an informer, inform other people. What area can you be able to get in this sector? And also just looking at the situation back home, we know that food insecurity is big. And unless the people who are experts like me decide, to really get into the game, to get serious in their profession, get their hands dirty, we are always going to churn out graduates who only have the book knowledge and who are not able to apply their knowledge. So actually my getting into the business is so multifaceted, because I want to be able to inform the entrepreneurs who really want to be able to get in there through consulting. And at the same time, I want to be able to mentor and also to be able to apply that which has already been taught, and especially back home, be able to, So it's really multifaceted. Why I decided to begin this. So it's a very strong why. where I'm in the game. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
John, as a coach, you've obviously, that's really good. I like about how you've analyzed in terms of, you've looked at your industry, you looked at the challenges there is there, and that has sort of informed in terms of, okay, what else can you, and if you looked at your career, you've gotten to a point in time whereby I got to this point, you started to ask all those questions. And I think that's going to be something that someone sitting at home will be asking themselves, okay, I've hit this point in a career. I'm going to come to you, John. You, as a coach, as a consultant, working with business owners, you've obviously had a seat behind a lot of these decisions of people starting and growing their businesses. So someone comes to you, or maybe some of the people you've coached and consulted in the past, how do you help them sort of move from like, okay, I could go here, I could go here, I could go here, to let me focus on this, let me hone in on this business and work on this particular challenge. You're more than welcome to throw in your own personal experiences as to how do you really specifically decide. I mean, you've shared some of that, but I would also like to know from your insight from as a coach, advising somebody, how do I pick this industry? How do I pick this particular business? Where do you start?
I think first and foremost, I would say, in my opinion anyway, when we coach people, I don't think the industry really matters.
Yes.
In the sense that, like what Christine was trying to articulate here, is that you have to have a strong reason in life to do anything. Okay, from a business perspective, it's looking at because in my opinion, even when we are coaching, what is business? A business is an enterprise that solves people's problems. So that could be in any sector.
Excellent.
Okay, there are opportunities, in other words, every day. Okay, and the key here is that you need to have a strong reason why. Why is that so important? Because when you have a strong reason why, then you'll be able to overcome all the challenges that come along with getting into business. Life in and of itself is challenging. Okay, so when you add up, and especially with business, that one of the key things that stops people also from getting into business is the uncertainty. Well, uncertainty is always there anyway, but there is more uncertainty because maybe you are not assured of an income at the end of the month. So you really have to have a very strong reason, whatever that reason might be for you, why you want to do that. That's number one. Number two, I would say also, so when we are coaching people, is that once you have honed on and decided that this is what you want to do, then you have to focus.
Yes.
Because the truth is, with entrepreneurs, and sometimes I also get into my own world when it comes to entrepreneurship. It's very easy to want to keep moving because you see opportunities all the time. However, you really have, it's like a baby. You have to be in a position to nurture that baby, get it to grow, get it to start walking, to run, and for it to become independent. So it's the same thing with a business, is that you need to give it that time. And if you don't give it that time, then what happens is that, and this is why most businesses end up folding, is that there is not a lot of focus into it. Then you've got your energy being dissipated all over the place. Then you become what we call a jack of all trade, but a master of none. So when we are coaching people, it's really important to be so focused, because focus is the key. And I'll give an analogy of how focus is so key and so important. When we were growing up as boys and girls, we would go out in the sun with a magnifying glass and a piece of paper. You'd use the energy from the sun through the magnifying glass, and you'd ignite a fire. Now, if you only went with a piece of paper outside, there's no way you're going to ignite the fire, because what we are doing is that we are concentrating the energy and focusing that energy from the sun on one single point. It ignites a fire. It's the same thing with business, with career. If you really hone in, ultimately you're going to be successful, and then you become a master of that. Then after that, you can move on to another venture. So to really answer your question is that you have to have a strong reason why. And once you have identified, and obviously once you have identified, you need to make sure that you're really focused on it. And I would say, and this is not just because I coach, I would say if there's any key important thing to succeed in business is to have two people. One, a coach,
Yeah.
and there's a difference between coaching and mentoring, if I may just point out here.
That's actually really good.
Because
Please.
coaching, I can coach anybody because we are dealing with what's happening in between the two ears, what's happening in our own minds. How do we create, and we have the capacity and the capability to create absolutely anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's very little limitations other than the limitations we place ourselves.
Yes.
So that's the work of the coach, to make sure that they help you realize the immensity of who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to mentoring, you need to be mentored by somebody who's been in that industry. So, for example, Christine has been in the agriculture sector. I have no clue what happens there. Okay, if I really want to be a master in that area, then I look for somebody who has been really successful in that area, and then they can mentor me. So, I would say, other than focusing, those are two very key important aspects for people to be successful. Yeah.
That is really, really important, and I'm glad you really shared that. I want to dwell on that point just a little bit. So you've decided this is this. You've got an overwhelming reason. I'm still trying to sort of get someone who is kind of starting out to make sure that they've got a good foundation. What are the first few things you did when you started your business that really set you up to grow this business? It could be when I started the business. I invested in this or that. Like, is there any? You able to take a minute and just tell me a couple of maybe 2 to 3 things that you did when you're starting out, that really, the few things that you really did in your early stages that really set you up?
Okay, for me, I would say, again, I identified what I wanted. I read Tony Robbins' book, and I have also other belief systems, not belief system, but the way I observe life. Is that if we have children here, let's say we've got 5 children and they're about 2-3 years old, and we leave them to do whatever they want to do, you come back, those kids would be doing unique things.
Yeah.
I believe that every human being will have got something unique that you have to contribute to this nation, or to this world anyway.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I wanted to become a priest.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
And I was fascinated by Bishop Gatimo. I still remember vividly. I did mass with him. And that's what I wanted to be. I never became that. Then I thought, I'm going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Again, I never did that. Then I ended up in accounting. And I thought I'll do accounting and I would start up a college. Again, I never did that. I did go to accounting college, ended up in business. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is that, and it is linked to the question that you asked. Today, when it comes to coaching, I really do work almost like a priest.
Yes.
Because we are coaching, we are helping people navigate through life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's number one, which I feel that everybody, if you really reflect on yourself, and there's an exercise we do in one of our seminars where we get people to really understand what's my purpose in life. Because when you have your purpose and your values and your goals aligned in life, then it becomes a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's number one. So when I identified what I really wanted, which is really coaching, and the first thing I did is I invested in myself.
Yes.
I went to all Tony Robbins seminars.
And that would have been...
It was pricey.
That would have pricey.
Yeah. It was pricey. Yeah. I mean, well, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
When we make decision on where we spend our resources,
absolutely.
If it is something that is really worth it, it is not pricey. It is worth every bit of it.
Investment.
Yes, we did invest quite a fair bit. I did Master University of Tony Robbins. Then I moved from Tony Robbins. I did programs with people like Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Oh, wow.
I did programs with Jim Rohn. I did programs with people like Dennis Waitley.
Oh, wow.
I immersed myself for a number of years in that industry. And yes, it did call for resources, but whatever I did then created a platform for what I've been doing for all these years.
Perfect.
So either you might have those resources or you might get somebody to assist you with those resources. But then I'll also say this, because people get hung up into getting into things because they want to know exactly how they'll go about it. Okay? The truth is, and this is the truth, nobody knows how to achieve a goal until you achieve it. Because if you did know, you would have the goal.
Yeah.
Let's take a very simple example. So for argument's sake, let's say you want to make $100,000. You've never made $100,000. The reason why you've not made $100,000 is because you don't know how.
Yeah.
But does that mean you'll not make it? No. It begins by making a decision that you're going to make it and you're going to find a way. So what stops most people? And I guess that's where you're coming with this question.
Yes.
What did you do first? It's because we are trying to argue within ourselves.
Yes.
What do I need to do first?
Yes.
But the key thing, it always begins with a committed decision that I'm going to do this.
Absolutely.
And I say that because if you reflect back, we don't have as many problems as decisions to make. The moment we make a decision, somehow we always find a way.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Wow.
That's really perfect.
No,
People
that's
are expecting to have a very clear, meticulous, but you don't know until you get to that point. Yeah.
no, that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I'll just ride on that wave because
Yes.
you've already started the wave. It starts. I 100% agree, John. It starts with a mindset shift.
Yeah.
So you have to first of all shift your mindset. That the destination doesn't really matter. It is a change in the direction you're walking, because you see you're actually just shifting, but it's not, you've not yet actually reached where you want to be.
Yes.
But the comfort is that you've already changed in the direction that you're going. That's the most important thing. So the mindset shift. I think for me, in very practical terms, how I started my business is, first of all, of course, I'm an employee. So I have shifted my mind that I cannot go back to employment. There is no plan B.
Yes.
It's only plan A and plan A.
Yes.
So you have to make that shift. And of course, in a considered way. You just don't, throw away your employment and you say, you have to do it very strategically. So once I had, first of all, was the mindset shift. So you have to do that. Then the second thing, it's an introspection. That's what it is.
Yes.
It's looking within.
Yeah.
And for me, really, it was, I always call it an audit. You have to do a self-audit. So I had to do a self-audit and ask myself, what have I done? What has Christine, what do I have? What do I have? And it doesn't have to be monetary terms, the resources, because resources is just one of the tools in the toolbox. You have to, by the way, I think John will agree with me on this. The greatest resource that all of us have is emotion. Emotion is actually the greatest resource you need. And the emotion is just builds your fuel. It just catapults you. So for me, I had to do a self-audit, audit myself and say, what do I have? I have been a researcher, so I have research skills. I have communication skills. I have I have both the technical skills, because now I want to get into agribusiness.
Yes.
So first of all, you have to audit your skills, both as hard skills and the soft skills. So I audited myself. I said, I have the hard skills and I have the soft skills. And then the way your mind works, you need to tell your mind that you've been there before. Your mind always needs some sort of comfort. So I had to refer to the body of works that I have done previously, to settle my mind that I have done harder things before, and I've also done things that are unknown to me before, and I've been able to sail through. So like reflecting back on my PhD and say, you know what? I started it as a concept.
Yeah.
I had just hypotheses.
Yeah.
I just did something that is novel. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So you have to settle your mind and tell your mind, you've actually walked that journey before.
Yeah.
So it's a body of works. It's a reference point. And so everybody has a reference. Even if it's just being there with your kids. Let's say, for example, you're a homemaker. And you don't see it as a significant thing. You have been able to cook for your kids, settle them, put them to bed, do all those things. That's your body of works.
Yes.
So and that's your reference point. So for me, I had to start from there. That's one thing that I had to do. And then pick on one thing, my research skills. I asked myself, okay, I want to get into agribusiness. Where do I even start? I don't have a farm. So you know what I did? Used my research skills together with my communication skills, went on Google, Googled, said, looked for farms in Virginia.
Yes.
Because I know that's where they farm.
Yeah.
And I put in greenhouse growing in Virginia. And of course, Google is your best friend. It will bring you everything. And then I was able to connect, to read reports. What happens? How do you, how is the production sector? Then from one of the reports, I got a contact. Someone who had written this whole report. So I got a contact number. Guess what? Noted it down. Called the guy, said, introduced myself. So you see, all these are the skills that I'm using. They're not outside of you, they're within yourself.
They're within yourself, yeah.
Everything you need is within yourself. Made a phone call, told the guy what I really want to do. He said, by God's grace, he was able to say, come and see me, give me an appointment. And from there, you just need one person who was going to listen to you. And he was able to tell me, this is how you get land. And it was as ridiculous as go to Virginia Shopping Center. On the notice board, there's always people advertising for greenhouse land to lease, greenhouses to lease. You will find notices. That's all I needed. Went to the shopping center. As funny as it could be, I actually got an advertisement. Someone advertising for land. So you see, it just requires just that one step
and
the next one step and the next one step. And then from there, you're able now to just learn the culture, make connections, make networks, and that's how you build. So it's not really magic. It is within you. It's a reference to your body of works. It's your self-audit of the skills that you have. As small as being able to, smile at someone. Smiling is a skill. Like anything that we all have the skills. I think we just don't know. We just need to really understand that all these skill sets, we have them.
I think we discover our skills.
I was just going to really pinpoint one key, very fundamental thing. The reason why those things happened with Christine is because she had made a committed decision. Because when you make a committed decision, you didn't know that you all the journey that you just walked us through, but you made the committed decision that you're going to do this, although you didn't know how.
I didn't know how.
And then, depending on our belief system, whether you believe in God, you believe in the universe, things conspire for you to get there.
It was amazing.
And that's what I was saying. That the key thing is that we don't have as many problems as decisions to make.
That's actually phenomenal, the way you put it.
Sorry to interrupt.
No. Thanks for adding that.
Can I make another?
Absolutely.
I don't want to take so much time. But so once I knew I could be able to go there, then I decided the other thing as an entrepreneur, you need a proof of concept. You don't just go there scaling things when you actually haven't proved your concept. So my proof of concept, I said, I'm going to start in the house. So I actually started in the house, in my kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And then I said, I'm going to grow, microgreens. I know the nutritional value of microgreens. I actually wanted to just go full on microgreens, but I know the market here in Australia is not ready for microgreens. So I started growing small mini herbs in my kitchen and, grew them in small punnets and went to my local greengrocer and presented them, in a box, in just a, 10 kilo box, little punnets. And I requested him, I said, hey, I'm you have to sell yourself. With confidence and said, hey, I'm a local. That word local opens up, it opens up conversations. I'm a local and I am actually interested in growing microgreens. for the community? Would you be happy to put them on your shelves and see how they go? Aussies are very open people.
Yeah.
He was very open.
Yeah.
One of the IGAs, they said, why not? Let's put them here.
Oh, wow. IGA?
Yes.
Wow.
A local IGA. And guess what?
Yeah.
My planets didn't even have names.
Yeah.
They didn't even have branding. And in the evening, this guy calls me and says, Christian, come for your $20. Your planets have gone. Your 5 planets have gone.
Wow.
So you see, in my mind, I thought, he must be kidding.
Yeah.
And sometimes you hold back because we feel we have very little value or we have very little to offer or we have to go to market with shiny things, big wrappings, It could be you're out there, I see all these, our sisters, selling maybe chapatis and mandazi. It could be as easy as maybe those chapatis or mandazis could be within, in Woolies or Coles, in one of those cold storage, and people are having them as distributing them in big in large quantities. So sometimes we hold back and we feel whatever we are having is very little value, or we have to begin at scale. But no, you just need to just be authentic. Because I approached this idea and was very authentic. I was like, my 5 planets, I would like to, could you test them? Got my $20. In my mind, $20 is the same as 20 million. It's the same as 20 billion, right? You just need to add a few zeros. That's it.
It's just another set of planets. But I like how you mentioned about the idea of proving the concept, not having to go grandiose. Because I think that's where a lot of people, that's the biggest
you get
mistake.
stuck. You get stuck in it.
You're over-engineering.
Exactly.
Maybe you stayed at home. I need to get my website done. I need to do this. I need to do this. But sometimes you just need to have a proof of concept and actually prove that what you're trying to sell, people actually want it.
Then you realize,
so
someone can actually...
And then we realize someone can actually get it. I really love that point. The next question I have for you guys is, obviously people can look at you now and think, oh, you're doing well. I guess what I wanted to go is the question of failure, because a lot of people tend to, we tend to highlight what is going well, but we never really highlight the challenges that people can learn out of them. I guess what I wanted to go through is, what are some of the biggest failure or learning points or challenges? Because obviously it's not always challenge. It's either you fail or learn. You either win or learn. That you've overcome. And then I want to know how you overcome it and what sort of resources or systems have you used to support yourself in the process? You support yourself. We can start with you, John. You're welcome to share from your own personal experience or even some of the things you're finding dealing with lots of businesses.
I think especially for growing businesses across the board, one of the challenges would be cash flow. That's so how we manage and navigate through that is really critical. And most businesses don't go beyond the 5-year period, and that's one of the major reasons why. So it's really important to have a good management when it comes to cash flows. Get somebody who is an expert in that area, and get some advice. The other thing that I always recommend to people is, if you are going to be successful in this journey, the journey of business, the journey of life, is that you have to be a good student. What that means is that don't presume that you know it all. So if I'm going to get into any venture, for example, is also to find out people who've been very successful in that venture, speak to them, find out what is it that they did to be successful, because various businesses are going to require different aspects. If it's agriculture, it's very different from me doing a consultancy as a coach, as a speaker. So get to talk with people who have been in that industry and they've been successful. The other very important aspect of being able to navigate through is to ask people who went into business and never succeeded.
Yes.
Because it's important to ask them, what did they do to fail? Because then again, you know what to avoid. For me personally, I think also I would say the kind of mindset that you have will help you navigate through those challenges. Because for me, I've gone through so many challenges that it's part and parcel of my day, so to speak, of my life. And I see challenges as opportunities. And I learned that many years ago from Napoleon Hill in his wonderful book, Think and Grow Rich, because he says, in every challenge, therein lies a seed of achievement. So, yes, we can prepare ourselves as much as we want to prepare ourselves, but guess what? You will still face challenges. And the question is, what kind of mindset, what kind of attitude do I have that allows me to navigate through these challenges? That's the key. And in my opinion, the answer to that, and obviously having worked with so many business people over many years, is personal development. Because also your business will not grow beyond yourself. It's what you were talking about before, about consciousness. Consciousness is everything. So the more we develop ourselves, even as business people, as entrepreneurs, the better we are to navigate those through challenges. Because none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's it.
And whatever happens, in my opinion, is neither here nor there. It is what we do as a result of what happens that is really key and important. So how we work on ourselves, how we are able to navigate those things, the meaning we give to those things is really important. And that's why I truly endorse Napoleon Hill's thoughts that in every challenge, therein lies the seed of achievement. So it's really changing our psychology about challenges, what they mean to us. Yes, obviously nobody wants to go through challenges, but guess what? They are what made me or made everybody where we are today.
Yes.
So that's my take on it with regards to challenges. I don't know what Christine you would have to add on that.
I think it's, when you're in business, thanks, John. I think when you're in business, cash flow is always, cash flow is I agree with John that cash flow is one of the greatest challenges. And because it's a fuel of the business, you cannot ignore it. So that's also been my personal challenge, cash flow. And, So when cash flow is a challenge, what I've done is that I've either brought in partners to be able to, because the more the stronger.
Or bring partners in specific projects, or bring partners in the business.
Even in the business.
Okay.
You can, because I am more for team, because sometimes you want to operate in silos, and it's in agribusiness, it's very easy to bring in partners for a season. You can bring in partners for a season, and you cannot be able to share the spoil. So, because in agribusiness, it's a high risk business, completely high risk. And it's unfortunate because the farmer subsidizes the whole value chain. The farmer is one who subsidizes the whole value chain and is always at the bottom of the pile. So you take the highest risk as a grower, and that's a challenge in itself, So I've faced challenges in cash flow, challenges of course, in the crop itself. Sometimes you totally lose the crop. That's a challenge itself. And you have to recover. Challenges in hailstorm 2 years ago.
Incremental health. I remember. I remember.
Yeah, one time, it was so bad. Well, in 2 years ago, a hailstorm came in Virginia, and my crop, I had just started hydroponics. High production, high costs. And I remember that evening that day prior to the storm, I was so contented in the way I had taken care of my crop. the whole place was just looking lush.
Yeah.
All my greenhouses were just in peak production. And guess what?
I remember, I think I came to your place that 2-3 days after
A
that.
hailstorm
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
and smashes all the greenhouses.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you lose everything.
Wow.
And you actually lose everything.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
And you know, unless you have fortified your mind
Yeah.
to tell yourself, you know what, this is, you grow from this, and we live to see another day.
Yeah.
So you have to have that mindset.
Yeah.
Once you're an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
your mindset is plan A, plan A, plan A. And plan A doesn't mean, and another thing I think even I was pointing out before we could start the podcast, I said, a lot of people get into business with a mindset of profit or losses.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You need to change your your mindset and say, I'm getting into business to play.
Yeah. Get the
Playing means you're adding value, you're creating value.
Yeah. You're a player.
So if you get into the business with a mindset of profits and losses, then when the losses come, then you know you perish.
Yeah.
You know, and when the profits come, you also find yourself, you know, becoming another creature.
Yeah.
So you have to shift your perspective on how you look at a business. Because how many businesses have there been different people coming in? You have to approach it like, actually Simon Sinek said, well, I follow him greatly, said, you know, sometimes look at it as a Lego. You know, people can come there, they create, they innovate, look at it as that. So that, because you see companies, how many companies have you worked for? So many employees come in and go.
Come and go, yeah.
And the companies are still standing because, you know, the mindset is play. So the challenges are there. However, the greatest, another cup that the entrepreneur needs to have is a cup of innovation.
Yeah.
You have to continuously innovate. And innovation and creation go hand in hand.
Yes.
Such that where you're seeing the challenges, like John said, those are opportunities. I've come across in my business challenges of labor, you know, labor shortages.
Yeah.
Labor shortages is high in not only in agriculture, but across board. We have labor shortages. But also, we could have labor with the skill set that is there is not really giving you value. So that's also one of the challenges I've come across. And what have I done? I have put on the cap of innovation.
Yes.
So, for example, what I've done right now with the labor shortage and seeing that the skill set is actually falling short of what an employer would want to have, I have actually gone back to create, and now I've started a recruitment company, which I'll be talking about soon. So you have to put in the heart of innovation, and not just look at it. It's one. I know John said you have to focus, but at the same time, you have to look around and keep saying, okay, what are the opportunities, and try and innovate within the business. Yeah.
But it makes sense in terms of you're playing the game, and as you play the game, you get another curveball. You're not necessarily going out, you're still looking for solving, you're constantly solving problems.
You're constantly solving problems.
Part of the game.
Yeah.
Wow, this is really good. I want to shift gears a bit from challenges and look at what are the strategies you guys are using to grow your business. You know, to find your clients. Are you guys doing a lot of marketing? Like, what are you doing to sort of grow your business? What strategies are you used to? Because a lot of people looking to start a business who want to know, okay, where am I going to find a client? Where am I going to do that? And I like your story about how you talked about just you showed up in IGA. John, what strategies, and like I said, you're quite welcome to sort of suggest from based on, I keep throwing back to you because not only are you running a business, but you've also been
Yeah.
You've also had a seed behind a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Someone starting, what strategies you suggest to them? Okay, markets have to grow.
I think that question will be dependent on really what first and foremost, we have to have very specific goals when it comes to running an enterprise. So depending on how far you want to grow, what kind of goals that you've got, then that will determine what kind of marketing avenue that you're going to take on. And there could be various aspects of marketing, and that also will be determined by the amount of financial resources that you've got. Sometimes we have very meager financial resources, so you have to become creative on how you're able to get through to the markets. I think of key, and I think it's really important to be able to network as part and parcel of you reaching out, getting to know people, over and above having, whether you're going to use maybe social media, whether you're going to use the conventional ways of marketing, whether you're going to look at people maybe who might be your customers, they have multiple stores. Networking is key. That's what I mean. Networking is really key because people naturally resonate with dealing with people whom they like. Or people who they feel like they like, or they are alike. So looking for network opportunities is important. I mean, we are talking here about a Kenyan community. I encourage people to look at a business not just from a community perspective, but an Australian perspective.
Absolutely.
You know, such that you're not just intermingling with us as Kenyans, but you're going out there and meeting with people.
Absolutely.
So that is key and crucial. I think also whether we have strategies in place for marketing, whether we have a budget in place for marketing, the most important person is you who is marketing that business. Because you have the passion, you have the dedication for it, and sometimes even not having a budget. For example, today I caught up with somebody who wanted to know about coaching and how they could start. And he's got a skill set in coaching football, which means he's technically very well endowed with football. He has gone and done his personal development coaching courses. And he wanted to find out from me, how does he get involved in the sporting arena, which is something that I've done over many years. And so he was asking me for references. And I said to him, the references that I have might not be relevant for you. But this is the truth. You've got some skill set here. How many teams he comes from Queensland. He comes from Queensland. How many teams do you know of in Queensland that would benefit from your kind of what you're there to market? Why don't you knock doors? You know, because if you don't have a budget, look for ways that you can be creative and innovative to actually sell your product. Because the key thing is, if you're going to sell that product, you need to go and convince the person that you're seeing, why do they have to buy this product?
That's
you know, of what significance is it going to be for them? For example, in this case, I said, you know, what kind of key performance indicators would you articulate to these people that as a result of using their product, maybe they'll return more, maybe they'll win more games, and give them that opportunity. And if you don't have money, even say, I'm going to give 2-3 sessions for free. Let's see what happens. So what I'm saying is that, yes, there could be the conventional way of marketing for a product. And again, it depends on what kind of product, where are you marketing it? So for example, we do business in Kenya. The market is a bit different from the way we do it here, because you have to look at the demographic, the country where you're operating, and make the assessment. The age of the business is going to determine. You might not have much budget. So it's really being open-ended, being creative. And at the end of the day, if you're really passionate about something and it can transform people, you will still be able to get through. Just like what Christine did. Okay. I don't know whether I've articulated your question correctly. Now, when we say about networking, and I've done this with the Kenyan community, and I do this virtually every month, I invite people to come for a breakfast, which is a networking breakfast. You know, you're coming there, we have about anywhere between 100 and 120 120 people at a breakfast every month. These are people who are involved in business. That's number one. And secondly, we are interviewing highly successful people within the South Australian community. You know, it's invaluable, the kind of connections you can meet there. It's invaluable, the kind of knowledge that you can actually get there. I mean, for example, if I was to give maybe examples of people that we've interviewed, people like Bob Beaumont, who used to own Beaumont Towers. People like I mean he's owned the supermarkets, the Drake supermarkets, Roger Drake. I mean, these are people who have really excelled in business. And a mere interview of those people for about 45 minutes, you're able to pick a lot, because they all did not start where we see them today, where they're turning over billions of dollars a year. They started somewhere. Andrew Downs, for example, he started in his garage. Today, he's got one of the biggest engineering companies in South Australia. So it's really important, if you're going to be in the space of business, entrepreneurship, make sure that you mix and mingle with people who are like that. Okay, and you'll be able to even sell and promote your products in those forums. Over to you, Christine.
Yeah, I think you've exhausted that.
I was actually going to shift gears a little bit, because it's a question that I've just thought about that is very pertinent for people looking to start. So you've all had experience in doing on your own and having partners. Because a lot of people fear partnerships. Some people, there's all sorts of horror stories, but then it looks like from where you're coming from, you've managed to make partnership works one way or the other. Whether through different businesses. That is something I really want to start to speak into, in terms of like going solo versus partnership. And if you're going to go down the partnership path, what are you looking for? How do you make this thing? How do you make that partnership relationship work? Because I think it can really be a very good way to propel you forward, but for some people, really, it can also be something that could really, really derail your career. And I mean, we've all had different experiences. Maybe you can quickly point on that, because you've had different partnerships in your business.
In my business. No, thanks for that. I think the thing is really, and again, it all goes to soft skills. If you're going to bring a partner in, because running a business when you have a partner, I can't say I actually have a partner per se. It's just at different times, just to kind of cushion me. Maybe just to cushion me. I think like in my just referring to my own experience, I think it's more of you have to be able to trust each other. Trust is key. Because, like John said, people want to work with people that they like. So first of all, you have to establish what's the value base, what's the value system of this person that you want to,
what they bring into the table.
What they're bringing to the table, yes, but also their ethics, their ethical. You have to take time for a person to come within your trust circle. So you have to actually take time, because like I said, business is not all about money. It's greater than money. It's greater than really coming in to make those profits. So you have to kind of just kind of review and see, does this person share the same personal belief systems in the business world, in the way they treat other people? There's some people who just like to underpay other people and get the profit. So that's an ethical issue. There's all these small, I can't call them really small, but they're just key belief system that you have to establish if you have to bring in a partner. And I think for me, it's more of the partners I've been able to bring in my business are more of mentors. People who've been there before, people who are running, their own $1 million businesses. I want to know what do they do to be able to achieve that, get there. So it's more of, but they also, mentors don't have so much time for you. You also have to earn their time.
Gotcha.
So it's more of being able to try and get into their circle by, how authentic you are, how what are your goals. So you also have to they have to know where are you going to, what are your long-term, short-term, medium-term goals. So it's it's more of mentors than really partners, but it's more of your values. Yeah.
I really cannot overemphasize the key importance of value system. The value system that if you're going to get into business with someone, it's really key and important. I mean, for example, so results, we've been in business together since 2003.
Wow,
there are other businesses that I've been involved in that it didn't work.
Yes.
I think being open-minded, taking responsibility when those kind of things happen, because sometimes they're bound to happen. And also what I would say is that at the stage where I am now, from a business perspective, I don't take to heart when some of these things happen. When things are meant to happen, they do happen. When they are not meant to happen, they don't happen.
Exactly.
The key thing is, if you realize that the kind of partnership that you've gotten into is not working, just clean yourself and move on as quickly as possible. But doing a due diligence, making sure that you know the person well, does make a difference. So really, it's you really cannot pinpoint a way of how people navigate through that, other than maybe the value system, and getting to know people, because we are also different at different stages in our life.
That's it.
Things that I used to see 5 years ago, I see them very differently now. And the reason for that is that change is the only constant. Whether we agree or not, we are consistently changing. So it's how you navigate those changes, if they have to happen, that are really important.
Awesome. That's very good.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
I also want to say, I think within the Kenyan community, now going to the Kenyan community, there's a lot of equity. There's a lot of equity around, and personally, I feel people have known each other for a while.
By equity, you mean
the equity that you bring. You as Kim bring, I bring, John brings. There's a lot of equity, collective equity.
Equity,
That I think, I think the time is now. And especially as you indicated earlier, that there's a lot of desire for people to get into entrepreneurship, and I think there's a lot of equity that we can all bring.
We can tap into
each other.
Yes.
And collectively, you don't have to do business with everyone, but at least, one thing that pains me is just working in silos.
Yes.
I think, we need to maybe pause, reflect, and see how can we all bring this collective equity and see how businesses can be able to have tentacles to kind of support each other, build each other up. Because remember, the reason why we are getting into business is not for profits and whatever, but it's more of creating a legacy for ourselves, for the children that we already have. So we think as a community, there's a lot of reflection I think we need to do.
I think so.
And I think this is just the beginning. You're holding this podcast here.
We're already having this kind of conversation.
And well done on that.
Oh, thank you. I mean, there's a lot we can learn from the Indian community in terms of how enterprising and how they've been able to collaborate and work together.
Just before you go to the next one, you talked about a community. If there is a community from a business perspective, I would say is exemplary. It's the Israeli community.
Yes.
The Jews are really good, because by the time the dollar leaves their community, it will have navigated through their businesses quite a few times. I endorse what Christine is talking about. As a community, I think it's something we need to learn and adopt. And it comes from a premise. The truth is, and I agree, financial results is a consequence of what we do. Okay, so even from a business perspective, how profitable, how well a business does is a consequence of what we do. Linked to that, if from an entrepreneur perspective, from a business perspective, it's really important to understand that there is unlimited abundance. Okay, Okay, because if you come from that concept of unlimited abundance, there's no reason why I'm not going to help somebody else if I can.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to deny me what is mine.
Yeah.
So again, this has to go with how we develop ourselves
Yeah.
at different stages. We think differently.
Yeah.
The more we work on ourselves, like you talked about initially about consciousness, the more we are open to some of these things.
Yeah.
Yes. Supporting each other, supporting each other, helping each other the best we can. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit and ask you, okay, running a business can be fairly stressful, right? It's a stressful game.
Yeah.
Or wherever you look at it. How do you balance the demands of running a business with looking after your health, your mental well-being, your family? I mean, you've both family, you've got young children, you're a grandpa, you're multifaceted. We're not just business people. We've got lots of different things around our lives that also demand our attention. And you're juggling. How do you kind of balance between that? John, I think you can start.
I would say so. What you're talking about is time, in essence. It's how do we get the best use of our time? I would say number one is that you have to create the time. Okay, because whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's Bill Gates, whether it's whoever it is, there's one thing that we all have in common: the amount of time that we have.
Yeah.
The question is, how effective are we at that? Yeah. Now, I think it's important for us to understand first and foremost that whether it's business or a career, that's not all there is to life. There is more to life than that. And it's important to have a balanced lifestyle, because if you don't have a balanced lifestyle, then things are going to start breaking down, and there will be consequences of that.
Yeah.
So for me, from a personal perspective, is that I ensure that what are some things that are really important to me? Because the truth is, we create time for the things that are truly important to us.
Yeah.
So somebody will say to me, health is important to me.
Yeah.
But they don't create the time to go for to do something about it, then it means essentially it's really not important to them until something happens, and then all of a sudden it's important. So I think the key thing is to look at what are some things that are really important to us that we must do. So first and foremost, the things that are important, they are normally not urgent.
Yeah.
Okay, so health, very important,
But
it's not urgent. Family relationships, very important, not urgent. Okay, managing business and making sure that the business is running well and planning, sometimes very important, not very urgent. So what we need to do is look at those things that are really important to us that are not urgent and put emphasis into them. And then you plan around your time around that. So for instance, health to me is really important. Why is it really important? Just to take you back almost now, that's almost 15, 14 years ago, in 2010, I had a heart attack. Okay. Now, even before then, health was an important aspect of my life. But since then, I took it to another level. Okay. And one of my businesses, which is Kangen Water, has to do with health. Again, we didn't get to talk about our other businesses, but the health is really important to me. So I make sure that as much as I can, based on the knowledge that I have, how healthy am I making sure that I take good care of this body? Because this body is the one that is going to run the businesses, is the one that's going to do all those things. So it's really important to me. And I make sure that I work around to make sure that I do those things. And for example, with regards to time, I wake up generally quite early, about 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm not telling people to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, but the reasoning behind that is that, you see, if you wake up 1 hour earlier, it means in a year you've got 18 40-hour weeks. Because if you think about it, in a year there are 360 days. A week is how many hours? 40 hours. 360 by 40 is 9 weeks extra. So what can you do with 9 extra weeks? So the connection here is time and having a balanced lifestyle. Okay. So I can wake up that hour. I can do my exercise. I can do my spiritual work. Whatever whatever those things that are important to you, we can always create the time to address them. I love playing golf. Why? It's really good for my exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good for my health. I am also socializing because also we are social animals. We cannot live in isolation. That's part of balanced lifestyle.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I connect with people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's really looking at your time, looking at those things that are really important, whether it's your
Yeah.
family, your spiritual growth, your business, your health, your relationships, because we also have other relationships. We've
Yeah.
got friends. Then you look at that will and make sure that will you are allocating the necessary time and resources, and more so it's time more than anything else.
Yeah.
To address them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll have to address certain aspects
Yeah.
more than others. And after some time, some of them are automatic, which means you can add on other things. Whether it's, maybe going for holidays, it's also something that is important. Because why are we working so hard and not living life? It's really important to make sure that we are smelling the roses as we go along. So in answer to your question, from my perspective, it's learning how to create more time, manage your time, and leverage your time. When I say leverage your time, how many of us drive today? Almost everybody.
Yeah.
How many of us are listening to a book as you drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really important to have a balanced lifestyle, I would say. What do you think, Christine?
Wow. What I think is that I'm seated next to the most balanced entrepreneur that I've ever met. Because, and well done to you. I admire, I know that you wake up at 4 a.m. Because I've heard you say that a couple of times. So what time do you sleep?
Sometimes probably maybe around between 11 and 12.
So how many hours of sleep
About
do you
4, 5,
Wow.
5 on average.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
However, I must stress one thing, that there are certain things that I do to make sure that I have that energy level.
Please tell us.
Okay. Number one, the amount of food we eat,
Okay.
the quality of food we eat, making sure that we go through life without stress and being at ease,
Yeah.
not having a lot of thoughts,
Yeah.
Generally I have very few thoughts.
Okay.
I, as much as possible, attempt to live in this present moment as much as I can.
Yeah.
Because thought can be very draining energy-wise.
Yeah.
I do other things like having cold showers.
Do you do the ice baths?
Yes, I don't do ice baths myself, but I do cold showers
Just
all
cold
the time,
showers. Oh, wow.
even in winter.
Even in Denver. Okay.
Yeah. I drink a lot of water, obviously, because of Kangen water. So if you do, and I do exercise, if you do a combination of most of those things, you'll find that you do have more energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just like, I just, decided to, I did make the decision that I want to create more time.
So it's
and then I looked at people who have done that over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And then I copied what they do.
Cool. Wow. So I think for me, to answer that question, I need a lot. There's a lot to borrow from John, because you can see he started from the mindset shift. Because for me, I can say I'm very unbalanced. And my friends out there will say, because I've missed so many coffees, I've missed so many occasions. So I'm actually very unbalanced because of my nature of work. Agribusiness is full on. You work, to your bone. But it shouldn't be that way. And it's all because starting a new business, trying to, So it's, in all honesty, I'm very unbalanced. And it's good I'm sitting here with John, who I know for sure he's telling the truth about his way of balancing. And I'll be signing up to your coaching session on how to balance an entrepreneur. Maybe you should start.
What I would also mention is that among other things, I mean, there are ways and means that we can leverage our time as well. Is that also look at things that you're doing that you don't need to do and get other people to do it.
That's it.
Is a big one.
Yeah, and I think you even told me that.
It is really important.
That's it.
Because focus on the things that you really want to do. don't do things because you have to do. Get other people to do that.
Yeah.
It's really important to leverage that time.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, Christine, is that time is like holding sand in my fingers and it just slips away.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's the most valuable asset we've got.
Yeah.
You see, we can lose money, we can get money back, we can lose our health, we can get it back. But time once gone, we don't get it back.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So it's really looking outside the square and looking at where can I really leverage my time? How can I make sure that I'm creating time on the things that are really important to me? Do a time audit, by the way.
Okay. I think that's the next exercise I'm going to do, a time audit. Yeah.
And the time audit means sometimes we spend time on things that I call they are not important and they are not urgent. So for example, how many people sit down and watch the screen every day?
Oh, that's not me.
Yeah. Because you're busy.
Yeah.
You know, you're living in the dimension I call everything is very important and everything is very urgent.
That's it.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's where stressful people who are having a stressful life live in.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is the case is because we didn't give those things that are important and not urgent the time they deserved then.
Yeah.
Then they become, all of them, they are very important and they're very urgent.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can have a conversation about that.
You're a coach, so that's it. I'm in the right hand, so that's okay. Yeah. So balancing, and I think for most on average, most entrepreneurs, they live in that quotient of unbalanced. We can always improve on that.
We can always improve. But I agree in terms of even John, what he's saying about the things you know to do. Like, I'll give you a very simple example. Things like even cleaning your own house. You know, there's a lot of students within the community. We made that decision. Just call some of these people, they'll come, the mop, they do whatever. If it's a garden, there's a lot of people who come, they do the mop, they do that kind of, they fix up everything. It's lots and lots of things that we stress out and we feel guilty, we make ourselves feel guilty about. We shouldn't just be doing. Like even I would rather just have someone pay someone and I spend that time with my family. Anyway, there's lots and lots of strategies around there. As we start to approach towards the end of our conversation, I want to ask, I want you to take a moment and tell me what are your biggest aspirations for your business or business right now, and what are you actively doing to get there? Get there,
Christine.
Oh, Christine. Okay. Okay, me. So my biggest aspirations right now for my business, that I've been in this business for 5 years, is that I've been able to look at it from an insider's perspective. I have an insider view of being able to see what the value chain looks like and how I can be able to get into the next level, and also to be able to identify gaps. And once I have identified those gaps, then I'm able to innovate. For example, like I said, I've been able to identify gaps in skill shortages. And it's not just about the skill shortages, but even the quality of the skills that are out there in the market. For example, I must say, let's say, for example, the ag graduates that are graduating, I've been able to see clearly why are we having agricultural graduates spending 100,000 over 3 years, getting their degrees and ending up not being able to participate in the economy, in the career that they would want to get into, let's say in the ag industry. And the gap there is that there's a lot of book knowledge that's been churned out, and they don't have really the industry skills and the industry wants. So I've talked to many employers here in Australia, and they've said, we don't have confidence in the international students, what they can offer, because we realize most of the businesses in Australia, they're family owned. And for anyone to give you a shot in their business, let's say, for example, in the agribusiness sector, for the sake of argument, for someone to actually give you a shot to go and run their enterprise as an agronomist, they really have to trust that you really can be able to deliver. So what does delivering look like to an employer? Delivering looks like you have certain skill sets which are not being taught in the school. And fair enough, there's no time to really teach them the hands-on practical skills, real life skill sets. and so I see the pain points. I've been able to identify the employers' pain points, why they cannot be able to uptake the agricultural students. And as an agricultural specialist, I see the layer and I see the missing link because we've been trained back home, especially if you're coming to do a bachelor's. The way the environment we've been socialized is small scale farming, no machinery, not exposed to high technology. And so there is, although people are coming, they're being trained here, they still are missing in that mechanization, high-tech gap. So for me, I've identified that, and as a business, and I've seen that across
the country,
across many industries, that students are graduating, but they are short of the industry real-life skill sets.
Okay.
So in this, I've actually been able to innovate and create a business model. The recruitment, exactly.
Yes.
So I have just received a license from the government.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I think, for all purposes, I think this would be the first African Kenyan-owned recruitment business.
Yeah.
So I've been able to get my employment license 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
And it's going to be a value-based kind of a recruitment model, whereby I will not be just looking into placing students in different industries. I'll be looking at auditing wherever resumes are coming, looking at what are the skill gaps that you're missing, and trying to facilitate the students to acquire those skills so they can be able to get absorbed into the industry.
Making sure they're job ready.
They're job ready.
Yeah.
And so that's what the consulting arm of the business is going to be handling.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to working with the many employers that are in the room.
Absolutely.
In whatever industry. It doesn't have to be ag. If you're in NDIS, I would love to be able to work with you to look at what are your employer pain points in terms of the employees and what are employability skill sets that you'd want your employees to have, and be able to work with you and facilitate that and really place for you employees that are well suited for the
well suited, people that can hit the ground running and make a valuable contribution to your business. That's exciting. What about you, John? What would you like to take a minute to just tell us what are your biggest aspirations for this business? What are your plans for the future? How do you plan to get there?
I think for me, I've had this. It's a lifelong goal. My goal is really to inspire millions of people worldwide to live a life of joy, great health, and financial independence. I'm pretty committed with that. Whatever business that we are in, whether it's personal development, that's the goal. Whether it's in health, where we are selling Kangen water machines and good water and educating people about good health, and whether it's international education, which we are involved in, that's our goal. Consistently growing the businesses, obviously. I have an opportunity to start doing international talks and seminars, which I'm looking forward in the next maybe 6 months or so. So that's going to be another phase. Obviously, I'm an author.
That's exciting.
1 + 1 equals 4. And this is really about the coaching and how we've, some people sharing their experience of coaching. I've been very fortunate anyway in that space to coach some people who've been very, very successful, which makes me feel very humbled. And the reason why I mention that is also I'm on my second book, which is, I've got a series of 1 + 1 = 4. Awesome. That's the keys to success. The next one is 1 + 1 = 4, the keys to good health.
Awesome.
And a number of series. So I'm working on the second book. Hopefully in the now 6 to 8 months, it should be out.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And I think for me, really, it's, and I think that's the key nature of business or anything that we do, is that we are dealing with enhancing people's lives. getting people to be the best version they can be. And in order for us to do that, we also consistently must be able to manage our own mind. Because how are you going to manage many minds if you cannot manage your
You
own
can
mind?
only manage your own, yeah, exactly.
And it's a wonderful space to be involved in business, whereby you become a stepping stone for somebody else being successful, whether it's in business or in their own personal life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The final question is, I want you to think about what is the single most important piece of advice you've ever been given. And then maybe a follow-up question is to, what do you tell someone who is looking to start or in those early stages or looking to grow your business? What would you tell them based on your own journey? Christine, let's start with you.
No, thank you. Before I can say that, can I say, because I actually said I'm starting a recruitment business, can I ask any employer out there who has positions that they're advertising, they can reach out to me?
Exactly.
And job seekers out there who are looking for positions, they can also reach out to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm sure you can be able to.
We'll find some way. We'll find a way to share some links.
Yeah. But in terms of the greatest advice I would that I would be able to give someone.
Maybe start with the one that the biggest piece of advice you've ever received for yourself, and then maybe share what sort of advice you would share to someone else who is in that journey, looking to start.
The greatest advice I've ever received for myself.
It could be business.
I think it might sound like it's a cliche.
Yeah.
But you're enough. Yeah.
It is.
You're enough. I know. You know, it's always said. Yeah. But honestly, you're enough. Because I think sometimes we are thinking business people look like this or look like that. But like we have all had this discussion that it is within us. What we are seeking is also seeking you.
Yes.
You know, what you're saying, like, you know, John said, you know, when you make the decision, the universe, you know, reaches out to whatever. So what you're seeking is also, so I think the greatest piece of advice, you are enough. I think Kenyans, we underrate ourselves so much. We sometimes think, oh no, you know, we have the nerves. Everybody has the nerves. You just roll with it. And the greatest piece of advice I would tell anyone who is wanting to start a business, just don't overthink it. Yeah. Just start. Start tonight by even just putting it on paper and saying, you know, putting your thought, your reflections, even what, you know, like you can even put as many businesses as you want, but just start.
Just start.
Just start. Yeah. Even with the thought. Yeah. The thought is already a creation. You know, just remember business is about creating. So the thought is a creation. And once that creation has happened, then you just need now the action to back that creation. So just start.
Make the first step.
Make the first step. Make a phone call.
Make a phone call.
Yeah, call Christine. Call John. Call anybody.
Go to IG with a
with
a box. Yeah. Take that risk.
And if anybody calls you, answer the call and tell them for the business people in the room. If anyone calls you, just be candid enough and just point the person to, you know,
to the right direction.
Give them value. Let's all collectively bring our equity together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. But John, biggest piece of advice you've ever received, and what sort of advice would you share to someone who is looking to start or they're starting? And
I think many years ago, I got into an interesting situation from a business perspective, and at that point in time, it's many years ago, by the way, I blamed everybody else. And a very wise business person said to me that, you know, you can talk all you want until the cows come home.
Yes. Yeah.
But until you, in short, what he said, until you take total responsibility for everything that's happening to you, you'll never move.
Yeah.
In essence, he said, you can blame everybody else, but the truth is, John, you've actually created this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because that's the way he put it, at that point in time, from a consciousness perspective, I didn't understand. It took me years to understand exactly what he had said.
Okay.
And when it dawned on me,
Yeah.
it was a light bulb opening.
Yeah.
So I do take 100% responsibility for anything that happens to me. And that was very good advice, which sometimes might not be very easy for people to take. Because it's easier for us to give ourselves excuses. I've been there, blame other people, but taking total responsibility, it is very, it's the only way to go. Now, and also taking total responsibility does not mean that you have unlimited action to take.
Yes.
You can take total responsibility in the sense of the way you respond to things,
Yeah.
but sometimes you're not able to act accordingly,
Yes.
depending on various aspects. So that's the wisest advice that I've ever gotten. And linked to that is the advice of, obviously, because somebody telling you you've created this, and I could not understand why would I create a mess? It seemed very ridiculous. It got me to start working on myself in order to realize that. So in essence, I would say it's important for people to work on themselves. What was the other one? Was it advice?
Any advice you would give
advice?
someone who's looking to start?
The advice I would give anybody who
wants
wants to start, I mean, you've already mentioned they need to start.
Yeah.
I would say, really, when you start walking the journey of business or even in navigating through life, it's really important to have people, not people, but specific key people that you can go to. That's if a mentor for the kind of business that you want to get into.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you can, I highly recommend getting a coach. Those two people can make a big difference in navigating through the journey. And most importantly, really, honestly, if one wants to be successful, in my opinion anyway, you have to work on you.
Yep.
Because the buck stops here.
Yeah.
And all the resources that we need are within. But we are never taught how to use those resources. Many years ago, there's a really good teacher of mine. His name was Bob Protka. He's just passed away a few years ago. And Bob said, God's gift for you is more talent and ability than you can use in this lifetime. Your gift to God is to make sure that you use those talents and abilities in this lifetime. And I think that's a message for all of us.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. Guys, that has been a very powerful conversation. Have been a very powerful conversation. I really hope that you've got a lot out of it in terms of where to start, how to grow. If you've got any questions, we've got a few more series. We've got a few more entrepreneurship series coming up. If you've got any question, feel free to let us know so we can be able to know what to ask in the upcoming series. Otherwise, thank you so much, guys, for your time. I really appreciate your knowledge you've been shared. I've just got a couple of announcements. One announcement is from Consular Services. So, yes, there's going to be the Consular Service, the High Commission Consular Services is going to be coming here on the 16th of August. So if you need a new passport, please fill in your online form through eCitizen, and then the biometrics will be collected on that day. It's pretty efficient. They've done before. That's how most of us got our new passports. So 16th of August. So you need to fill in everything in eCitizen beforehand. And then the other announcement is we've got Abudu Kwakweli coming up. It's an evening of worship with indigenous languages returning to worship in our city. It's on the 17th of August at Rostreva Baptist Church from 5:30 p.m. So 17th of August, Rostreva Baptist Church, Abudu. I've heard that it's a really good evening. Otherwise, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hope good day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Oh, it's